All right, let's talk about something that's truly changing the game. AI in medicine. In this explainer, we're going to break down the revolutionary and, yeah, sometimes pretty risky new role it's playing. We're going to cut through the hype and really look at what this tech means for doctors and, for all of us as patients.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, we've got to start with this quote from Dr. Isaac Cohane, who's one of the top minds looking into this. He says we need to treat AI like a new model organism, not just some fixed database. What does that mean? Well, think of it like a lab mouse. It's this new kind of intelligence that we have to study. It has its own behaviors, its own quirks, and it's not always going to do what we expect.
So, here's the roadmap for our chat today. We're going to look at what this new alien mind in medicine actually is. We'll put it to the test and talk about 3 key jobs it could have. Then we'll get into the all-important safety nets, the big red flags and realities we can't ignore, and finally, what the next era of medicine might look like because of all this. All right, Section 1, Medicine's New Alien Mind. Let's dig into why this AI is such a fundamental shift, why it's so different from any tech we've seen in medicine before. Because believe me, this is not just a faster database. We're talking about a whole new way of thinking. And this slide really breaks down that new way of thinking. See, on the one hand, you've got logical reasoning, like a calculator. It follows strict, programmed rules. You put in 2 plus 2, it gives you 4. Every single time. Guaranteed. But then you have associative reasoning, which is what something like GPT-4 does. It's fuzzier. It makes connections based on probability. It's way more like human intuition, where it's not about a formula, but about piecing together tons of data to find the most likely pattern. Okay, next up. Putting AI to the test. So that's the theory. But how does this new intuitive thinking actually perform when the stakes are high? Can an AI really reason like a top-tier doctor? Well, to find out, researchers threw a real curveball at the AI. They gave it a super complex case, one straight out of the medical licensing exams. We're talking about a rare condition with really ambiguous, even contradictory symptoms. This isn't just about Googling symptoms, right? This is a test of genuine medical reasoning. And what happened was pretty amazing. The AI didn't just spit out the right answer. It actually showed its work. It explained its reasoning. It connected all these different, seemingly unrelated data points, like electrolyte levels and certain physical symptoms, to build a case for its diagnosis. It was acting just like a seasoned clinician, connecting dots that aren't obvious at first glance. But, and this is a huge but, here's the other side of the coin. The exact same system can be confidently, totally, 100% wrong. It's aced this incredibly complex diagnosis, but then it's also failed at simple stuff, like miscalculating a BMI, or suggesting a medication dose that sounds right but is actually dangerous. And that right there is the giant flashing warning sign. This thing always needs a human expert to double-check its work, no exceptions. Okay, so let's move from the theory to how this could actually be used in the real world. We're talking about the AI's 3 key jobs where it could realistically make a difference in a hospital or clinic. So, here are the 3 big pillars. First, the administrative stuff. Think of all the paperwork and insurance forms that just crush doctors. AI could automate that and fight physician burnout. Second, diagnostics. It could act like a diagnostic wingman, helping a doctor generate a list of possibilities so they don't get tunnel vision. And third, and this one is definitely the most controversial, is empathy and communication, helping draft messages to explain complex, often difficult news to patients. And that last pillar brings up this fascinating, almost philosophical question. I mean, if an AI can deliver bad news with what seems like perfect empathy, but it feels absolutely nothing, does that matter? Does it matter to the patient? For some, it might feel hollow. But for others, maybe what really matters is just getting clear, compassionate information and feeling heard, no matter where it comes from. It's a tricky one. All right, this brings us to a super important point, building the AI's safety net. I mean, with a tool this powerful that can also fail so spectacularly, you can't just plug it in and hope for the best. You need a system to manage that risk. And the leading idea for that is something called the Swiss cheese model. Think about a stack of Swiss cheese slices. Each hole is a potential weakness, but if you stack enough slices, it's really unlikely a single error can get all the way through. So layer 1 is the AI. It generates a suggestion. Layer 2 is the human doctor. They have to verify it, check the work. And layer 3 is the hospital system, which puts up guardrails, like not letting the AI order drugs by itself. It's all about creating multiple chances to catch a mistake. And this right here is the absolute bottom line, the most crucial point of the whole safety discussion. The liability, the responsibility stays with the human doctor, period. The AI is just a tool, like a very advanced stethoscope. If a doctor misses something using a stethoscope, you don't blame the stethoscope, right? You blame the doctor. It's the exact same principle here. The buck stops with the human.
Okay, but it's not all sunshine and roses. It's easy to get excited about the potential, but we have to talk about the red flags and the tough realities. There are some really big, unsolved problems here. So let's start with the dangers inside the AI itself, the black box problem. First up is data laundering. Basically, if the data the AI learns from is biased, say it reflects existing racial or social biases in healthcare, the AI doesn't just learn that bias, it can amplify it. Then there's hallucination. This is a weird one. The AI can act like a sycophant. It wants to be helpful, so if it thinks a doctor wants a certain answer, it might just make stuff up to support that idea. Super dangerous. And then you've got the external hurdles, the real-world stuff. There's the economic question. Great, AI makes things more efficient, but does that mean doctors get more time with each patient? Or do hospitals just cram more patients into the schedule? Then privacy. I mean, how do we keep our incredibly sensitive health data safe when it's being fed into these giant cloud-based AIs? And we can't ignore the potential conflict of interest, right? A lot of the glowing reports about this tech are funded by the very companies that are building and selling it. So with all those challenges on the table, what's the big picture? Where is all of this heading? Well, despite the risks, many believe we're on the cusp of a whole new era, a shift toward intelligence-based medicine. So what's next? Well, for one thing, AI is getting its eyes. It's moving beyond just text to analyzing images, reading X-rays, looking at skin scans, checking retinal photos for disease. But maybe the biggest, most exciting promise is in global health. The idea of a doctor in a pocket, an AI that can provide solid medical advice and triage in places where there are no doctors for hundreds of miles, that could be a total game changer for millions of people. And all of this really points to a fundamental change in how we even think about medicine. For decades, the gold standard has been evidence-based medicine, relying on studies and clinical trials from the past. But now we're shifting to intelligence-based medicine. It's about using a tool that can take all of that historical evidence, plus everything we know right now, and synthesize it in real time for the specific patient sitting right in front of the doctor. So I want to leave you with this final kind of provocative thought. What if AI's greatest gift to medicine isn't about replacing the doctor's brain, but about freeing it up? Think about it. If the AI can handle all the heavy cognitive lifting, the data crunching, the paperwork, the probability calculations, can our doctors finally get back to the truly human parts of medicine? The listening, the comforting, the empathy, the stuff a machine will never, ever be able to do? And maybe, just maybe, that's the real revolution.